Hi everybody, this is Joshua Kirk back with you guys once again on YouTube, and now it's time for episode 39 of Album of the Day. And before I get into this review, I'd like to talk about the shirt I'm wearing in this video, which is, it's a blue Beatles t-shirt that I got for my 12th birthday back in 2013, so just wanted to let you know about that shirt that I'm wearing. So for all you Beatles fans out there, get excited about this t-shirt I'm wearing, because I know all of you will approve. But anyway, aside from that, let's get on to the review. Today's artist is a band that I've already reviewed on my channel, but I felt like I needed to review them again because I love their music and they have so many great albums, so I figured why not review them again. There are bands that I think is from Brooklyn called The National. I reviewed their 2003 album, Sad Songs for Dirty Lovers, and I thought, why not review another one of their albums, because that's a great album, but they have so many other ones that I think may even be better than Sad Songs for Dirty Lovers. So anyway, the album I'm going to review today is their 5th album. It was released on May 11th, 2010. The album is called High Violet. And let me say, I really like this cover art. I really dig this cover art. I think it's very colorful and artistic. And this is The National's first album, released on 4AD after leaving Beggars Banquet, which, they've been on pretty small labels, that's for sure. Despite the fact that they're a band that, had some songs that topped the rock charts, they're still a band that's kind of got that independent status and are still signed to independent record labels and all that. But anyway, here's the cover, spine, the other spine, and the back. The songs on here are Terrible Love, Sorrow, Anyone's Ghost, Little Faith, Afraid of Everyone, Blood Buzz Ohio, Lemon World, Runaway, Conversation 16, England, and Vanderlyle Crybaby Geeks. And it was produced by The National themselves, so this is an album where The National's kind of doing their own stuff, producing their own stuff, playing their own stuff and everything. So anyway, and the funny thing is, their website is called AmericanMary.com, which is kind of funny because they are a band called The National when their website name should have changed to maybe thenational.com, as the band said. But, it's good to leave it as American Mary, because that kind of keeps it from being a little too, that keeps it from being a little too, no need to be a little fancy. But anyway, there's some photos of the band. I see Bryce and Ryan, and there's the liner notes for everything you need to know about this album. And there's Matt, Scott, and Aaron. So the packaging is pretty simple, just photos of the band and really nice album cover, as well as the liner notes and everything. No lyric booklet, unfortunately, but, lyric booklets aren't really needed, although it sometimes is best when there's lyrics in there. But, anyway, there's the CD, and I think I should probably get this album on vinyl too, because I hear the vinyl has really cool artwork, so I'm going to have to consider getting it on vinyl too, because there are some albums that I have on both CD and vinyl, because I keep going to Ka-Chunk Records, of course, and for all that stuff. That's the High Violet by The National. Let's move on to the tracks on here. So the first track on here is the song Terrible Love. And this song sounds like a perfect opening for this album. In fact, it sounds like the kind of song that wouldn't feel out of place in the beginning of a movie or something, during the opening credits for a movie. Like during the opening credits for a movie, it wouldn't seem so out of place. Nor would it really seem out of place in the closing credits for a movie either. So it kind of is the perfect opener for this album because it feels like an opener. It's got pretty minimal guitars and drums. I like how the song kind of starts out, you know, kind of simple, but then eventually it builds up. So you get the addition of some piano and strings, and I think there's a mellotron in there too, as well as some guitars, bass, as well as some guitars and some bass, and then, you know, the drums aren't really super non-minimal till like towards the middle of it, when they just get all powerful. And you know, just Brian's just an excellent drummer, because like I think one of the best parts about the Nationals records are the drums that they put on their records, as well as you know, lots of harmonies on there too. And you know, it's kind of a song, you know, that's kind of about, you know, how there is that love there is that love that sometimes is so good it's terrible sometimes. Well, sometimes so like, you know, kind of is quiet company sometimes for you. So it's like so it's less company than you need than when you're with a person or something like that. Track number 2 is called Sorrow, and this is a song that's kind of got interesting, like, figurative language going on with it. Matt's referring to sorrow as something in honey and milk, and something that's, and kind of referring to it as a girl inside of his cake, and saying he's living in a city that sorrow built. So I think lyrically it's pretty unique with, you know, kind of its figures of speech that, you know, like, you know, kind of trying to think of sorrow in like just various ways. You know, like there are tons of ways you can think of things, but sorrow is just something that you can just think of more than just you feeling sad. And it's beautifully orchestrated. Like, I think once it gets all the ambient strings and piano and everything, it's a really good song. And, you know, very well crafted, in my opinion. Yeah, and this sort of shows kind of maturity for the National, because their albums Alligator and Boxer are very catchy and upbeat and have such huge drumming, but High Violet seems a lot more mature for the group, because it's got a lot more instrumentation, and plus it's a lot less catchy than maybe Alligator or Boxer, but there's still some catchy stuff to be found in here. Just, it's all that it is just a band growing up and evolving. That's really kind of the change here. And track number 3 is called Anyone's Ghost. And this is a song about just not wanting to be the ghost of someone, you know, but at the same time not wanting anybody else. So it's kind of a song about, like, you know, Matt kind of talks about this girl that's like home alone with the flu, that thinks that she's alone home with the flu, but, you know, she finds out from friends that it wasn't true. And then she walks out, and then she goes out at night with headphones on, and walks through valleys of, like, you know, the dead, which I think they're referring to, maybe she's probably walking by a graveyard, or walking by maybe some sort of graveyard in a church or something like that. Like some sort of graveyard near a church or something about that. So yeah, it's kind of a song about wanting to be alone, but and just not wanting to be the ghost of someone else. Track number 4 is called Little Faith, and this opens with some weird little, like, you know, distorted noise thing. I don't know if it's a guitar or some sort of keyboard, but all I know is it starts out with this weird little noise that I think is probably a distorted electric guitar noise at the beginning. And then following that, there's like acoustic guitar, piano, and some really ambient strings. And lyrically, the song is also kind of strange. It is about, like, it does talk about, like, you know, playing nuns versus priests until somebody cries or wins. and it's kind of a song, just it's just so beautiful and dark musically as well as it is like lyrically too. Um, Track number 5 is called "Afraid of Everyone," and this song is definitely one of the standouts for me. Like it's got a harmonium as well as some very prominent guitars and the harmonies on this song just sound so beautiful. And the harmonies on the song come from Sufjan Stevens. So, like, I think the vocals that Sufjan Stevens provided to the song really just made that song perfect, hearing his background vocals on here. And plus I'm hearing lots of other instrumentation, like, I think I'm hearing, like, a clarinet and a trumpet, and I think I'm hearing a trumpet in here too. And this is kind of a song about, like, just kind of, not having all the drugs to sort out the fear that you kind of have. So it's kind of a song about how part of you kind of tries to make you afraid of people and, what they do and all that stuff. So this song, is pretty dark lyrically. So it made sense that they made such a moody musical background for the song to pair with these rather dark and somewhat cryptic lyrics. Track number 6 is the first single off of this album, "Blood Buzz, Ohio," and and this is one of the standouts. I mean, fantastic drumming, and I really like how with the beginning of the song, it starts out with the drumming, and then eventually the other instruments start to build up, and they just rise up and bloom, kind of like some flower in a garden. And it's kind of the song about like just being on a blood buzz and kind of living on something a little bit. And like Matt Berninger talks about being carried to Ohio in a swarm of bees, and saying that he'll never marry, but he doesn't want Ohio to remember him because he kind of got accidentally carried into there by this swarm of bees. So the Blood Buzz Ohio thing kind of makes sense because it did say the word buzz in there, so it does talk a little bit about bees in there, and it does mention Ohio in there, so lyrically it's a pretty good song, and musically it's just a very well crafted song. Like probably the best parts of the song are probably the piano, drums, and strings on. Like I think the piano, the drums, and the strings all sound excellent on this song. So I can see why they made this one a single, because it sounds so radio ready. Like it sounds like something that could be played on maybe say an alternative radio station or something. Like I don't know why, but for some reason my music taste kind of revolves around like alternative and indie and like rather experimental music. So I think the song, it would totally make sense in some sort of maybe alternative station, like maybe on say like KEXP or something like that. Track number 7 is called "Lemon World," and this is one of the better lyrical tracks, I think. This song has pretty nice instrumentation, like the guitars sound nice, and plus I think I hear a harmonium on this song as well as like "Afraid of Everyone," because there is a harmonium credited in the liner notes, and it can be heard like most audibly on "Afraid of Everyone," and it's possibly that drony organ thing that I'm hearing on the song "Lemon World" too. And this song is kind of a song, about like being happy that you're invited, like giving you reason to get out of the city, and then you kind of get invited to like this thing where like there's like there's like this girl who's like with her sister and what Matt refers to as a lemon world, um, and you know, kind of find and then going in. It's kind of like, you know, getting invited to something, going in the house and then seeing flowers everywhere, and then seeing that it's kind of, you know, gonna be a little that things have kind of turned from good to like really really sour as a lemon, pretty much. So so yeah, I think the sour as a lemon thing, I think, kind of makes sense because, you know, the title Lemon World can kind of refer to just being in this world of just straight up, you know, sour relationships with people, like just straight up lemon sour relationships with people. Track number 8 is called Runaway, and this song is just so beautiful musically. I mean, you know, has some nice vocals from Matt, and it's kind of a song about, like, you know, just you know, having another thing coming undone that's just taking you over. And it's kind of a song kind of saying, like, you know, feel free to throw your arms in the air or lose your shirt in the fire tonight or something like that. And musically it's just so beautiful. I mean, the horn section on the song just sounds so excellent. And then towards the middle of it, I think I heard like in the middle of it I think I heard like a Celesta or something like that. Towards the middle of it, there is a Celesta credited in the liner notes, so I think that little ambient keyboard that I'm hearing could be a Celesta or something like that. Track number 9 is called Conversation 16, and this is another standout from this album. Has lots of cool instruments in here, like this swirling guitar paired with this piano and locomotive drumming, as well as some other crazy things. Like I think I heard a bassoon in there, like I'm hearing some sort of woodwind. There is a bassoon credited in the liner notes, so I'm totally sure it's probably a bassoon. But you know, one of the parts of the song that I think totally intrigues me is that Richard Reed Parry, from one of my favorite bands, Arcade Fire, actually sings backup vocals on this song, and he also plays the double bass, electric guitar, and piano too. Which, you know, those little like harmonies that I'm hearing, like in the bridge and the chorus, I assume those are probably Richard Reed Parry's vocals on there. Which, you know, it sounds like something a little unusual, because, you know, when you listen to Arcade Fire, you hear mostly Win Butler and Regine, you know, just, you know, singing the vocals. But on the live shows, the other guys in Arcade Fire sing backup vocals, so it totally makes sense that, you know, Richard Reed Parry does sing backup on here, because he does sing backup live with Arcade Fire. It's Arcade Fire. And this is kind of a song about, it is called Conversation 16, so it kind of makes sense. It's kind of like the 16th conversation with, like, a girl, you know, just talk with, like, a girl, and, you know, kind of, you know, doing, like, slight figures of speech, you know, like, for example, saying, like, slight figures of speech, like, I was afraid I'd eat your brains, as well as, some other, you know, slight figure of speech lines, like, for example, I'll put my head in the oven so you know where I'll be. So there's, like, some pretty cryptic death-themed lyrics on the song, but, you know, they're trying to, I think the National are really trying to, you know, kind of write those lyrics in a way that would make someone else think of it in kind of a figurative way, you know, kind of a figurative way, sort of. Track number 10 is the longest song on this album, called England, and this song succeeds in the piano work and in the horn blasts that I'm hearing, and, like, the chorus, too. like I think I'm hearing like some French horn blasts, like by the chorus, like by the chorus. So like, and the piano work on here is excellent, and you know, this song is just, you know, like, you know, this song is just nothing short of just beautiful and excellent musically. And the closing track is called Vanderlyle Crybaby Geeks, and this song, I think, has some of the best production on the whole album. Like, you know, has some really nice guitars, and plus the string section is just so beautifully orchestrated. And this time, since there are tons of like backing vocal special guests on this album, on this song, you know, Justin Vernon, who has formed this project called Bon Iver, who have put out a fantastic album in 2008 called Forever Ago. He sings the harmonies on this song this time, and this song kind of has this old school kind of, you know, World War II kind of feel to it, which kind of makes sense because it does have the word Vanderlyle in the name, so it does sound, you know, pretty old school. And like, it's a song kind of about, like, you know, just, you know, people kind of tend to be like Vanderlyle crybabies sometimes, and you know, they kind of, it's just so it kind of gives you this urge to kind of make you explain everything to those geeks out there. Production-wise, I'm very happy with the album musically. It's not overproduced. It's got lots of stuff going on, but at the same time, it's not over the top. It's just very well done. Well done. It's kind of like this album is kind of like tasting food. You know, all the flavors, which are really all the instruments, kind of blend together into just this harmonious experience that has nothing dominating the other, really. Lyrically, it's an excellent album. A little dark, but you know, I really dig the dark lyrics on this album. I think they're like really kind of interesting, and I think they're kind of something that kind of, you know, can either make you think they're saying it in a literal way, or saying it in a not overly literal, kind of figurative kind of way. So I really like this album. I really like High Violet. Like, and vocally, it's excellent. I mean, the harmonies from all the people all the people singing backup on this thing, they provide a lot of beauty from their vocal harmony. So I really like this album. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. So I'd love to hear what you guys think of this album. If you really like this album, if you think this album is beautifully crafted like I think so, you know, tell me your positive thoughts on it in the comment section. But anyway, this is Joshua Kirk, signing off.